Okay, so I'm not entirely sure what possessed me to actually write all this out and subsequently record it. I guess I'm a little exhausted about how common it is for critics to shit-can something because angry insults are easy to sell. And too frequently, I see something get dismissed by people because, at first glance, they realize it's not for them. And, well, if it's not for me, why the hell did it get made? That being said, if I post something where I give my thoughts on media of some kind, you can trust that I found something that I thought was worthwhile. And I'll try to address three things primarily. Those things being, who is it for / why would it appeal to them? Where did it come from, or what kind of logic could have possibly led to this? And does it work, or will it work? But guys, have you seen the trailer for Detective Pikachu? Like, have you seen it? Anyway, we'll start with who is this for? Why would it appeal to them? This is actually an oddly complex thing to answer here. By and large, Pokémon has been a franchise marketed to children, successfully so, for the last 20 years. But at first glance, this is a much harsher tale, so much so that if it didn't have the name Pokémon tacked on it, I'd hesitate to bring a kid under the age of 15 to it. Now, the trailer establishes two primary story arcs. The main character, Tim Goodman, has a police officer father who's gone missing, and Tim's relationship as a failed Pokémon trainer with the newly acquainted Pikachu, that he can inexplicably understand, subplot, who helps him look for said missing father. Neither of these are anything you wouldn't find in a Pokémon episode or game. In fact, if you played Red and Blue when they were released, you started out the game with your single mom who, with the help of Professor Oak, starts you off on your Pokémon adventure. Missing dads and new tumultuous friendships are nothing new to the series. But the tone of everything is so much darker. The lighting, the scenery, the cityscapes, the set design, even the surreal realism of the Pokémon themselves makes this feel more like some kind of twisted noir film where you accept that Pokémon are there purely because it's in the title. And when you take all that in, it's pretty easy to realize that this isn't being marketed to a younger audience. Mainly because it doesn't have to be. Any kid who likes the series will nag and whine and drag their parents to the theater. But, essentially, to folks like me. People who grew up on the first-gen games and like to yell that, "There's only 151 Pokémons! Anyone who says different is a commie!" Okay, that's a smidge over the top, but you get who I mean. And if you don't think it's marketing specifically to Gen 1 players, I want to point out two things to you. Every last one of us who put hours into those games wanted to be a Pokémon trainer. And when Ken Watanabe's character says,
I remember. You wanted to be a Pokémon trainer when you were young.
Each of us knows how Tim feels when he says,
yeah, that didn't really work out.
And this second one might be unintentional, but you notice what song is playing throughout the trailer? This isn't the first time Happy Together has been associated with Pikachu. That's actually the song that played in the original commercial for Super Smash Bros. On the N64. And the only non-Gen 1 character that takes center stage for any length of the trailer is also in Smash Bros. But, okay, so if we accept all that, then we've established who they're aiming this at. And that leaves us with the question, but why? What weird-ass stream of consciousness led to this? They could have made any plot or style work as a successful Pokémon movie. Why noir? Well, I've been thinking on that. And to my mind, it's basically an inverse of a really common trend. In cartoons, comics, even other live-action movies, there's the trend to take something fairly dark and make it more palatable for the general populace. There was X-Men and their lessons about racism and acceptance of people's differences, or Labyrinth and its harsh morality tale about summoning preternatural beings to kidnap your siblings. I learned that lesson a little too late. Miss you, Preston. Or indeed, the Pokémon anime series lessons about friendship and loss, and struggling to succeed and accepting your failures. But you'd tie a real-world lesson up in a bright wrapper. There also used to be this thing that it doesn't seem so common anymore, where cartoons would come out based on previously established, more adult media. The most notable examples I can think of are Beetlejuice, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Ghostbusters, and the all but forgotten Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. And remember what I said earlier about the tone of the movie? Whether or not they meant to, what it looks like the writers and directors did was make a movie for the cartoon and games to retroactively be a lighter, kid-friendly version of. And I'm kinda okay with that. There was a gap in the equation for them to fill, and by gum, they filled it. Well, I hope so, anyway. But that leaves us with, will it work? Will it be good? In my mind, the knee-jerk reaction is that it's all an absolutely terrible idea. Making live-action movie adaptations out of video games and cartoons has worked out for almost nobody. Comics get a pass these days, thanks to Marvel.
And Batman.
It's practically an unwritten law at this point that these adaptations are supposed to be some bizarre pile of garbage, that at best, it can be an entertaining train wreck that crashes headlong into so bad it's good territory. Mario Brothers, I'm looking at you. But somehow, against all odds, despite how easy a cash grab it would have been to just make some pile of schlock and slap the Pokémon brand on it, God help me, it looks so good, and I want to see it so bad. Ooh, I hope Turtwig's in it. Turtwig is best twig. Turtwig is best twig! Oh, anyway, gang, I've said my piece. Here's hoping it's good. You stay good, and I'll catch you next time.